Hi, my name is Michael. I found out I was positive on Valentine's Day or February 14th, 1997. And the impact on HIV/AIDS in terms of my life has been significant. I did an HIV positive support group with other positives for about 5 years, and way back right after I found out I was positive, there was a larger network of people who were HIV positive. It was understood that we were in this together. I've also held the hands of many people who have passed from HIV/AIDS, and it taught me a lot about celebrations of life and the difficulties and challenges of death, and to cherish each moment that we have and to be thankful that living in the now is more important than not being able to live in the present and always being focused on the future or in the past. In the advent of medications, it's been surprising. Many of us who were HIV positive back in the time when I converted, we were taking many, many pills. I was taking roughly about 130 pills a day, and we went through that. So today we currently have a regimen that for many people consists of one pill one time a day. But many of us had to go through many, many pills several times a day. Eat, don't eat, stand on your head, don't stand on your head, think, don't think, and a lot of contradictions and a lot of side effects. And those side effects contributed to a lot of complications and taught us to be strong. We learned a lot from the onset of HIV/AIDS. We learned that silence was deadly. We learned that our silence was unacceptable, and we learned that by speaking up, we were able to get things through processes that didn't want to hear it. We got expanded access in terms of access to medications that were going through clinical trials. You heard the stories of many people who survived or did not survive, their struggles. In many cases, because we didn't have protections for many of us who were coupled with people, we also heard the tragedy of people who were long-term couples together for years. And once one had died or succumbed to HIV/AIDS or the opportunistic infections, all of a sudden death brought out the creepy in people, and estranged families came to pick apart the pieces and destroy what was remaining without any kind of rights in place. I personally met a few people whose stories impacted my experience, and I'll never forget it. Down to one particular story where even the car for their surviving partner to go to work was taken by an estranged family, their family pets, because we had no rights. We were not considered equal under the law. And yet there was a recalcitrance in order to challenge and the institutions didn't want to be challenged. And we continued to forge ahead because it was necessary. It was necessary for our survival to have that stability. And we learned from those crises to speak up and to speak out, and that it sustained our life, just like the medications. Currently in San Francisco, we are currently under another crisis, and we find ourselves in the midst of a great reluctance to discuss it. And it's affecting people with HIV/AIDS, particularly long-term survivors, such as myself. As rental prices increase with a lot of gentrification, many of us didn't have to go out beyond our front doors to realize that the value of real estate and location secularized our homeless population. There's not a lot of interest in terms of our homeless population. We just found out last year, just by surveys, that our homeless population is comprised of 29% who identify in a survey as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. We've also failed to secularize the services to meet the need of this secularized segment or population where HIV and AIDS are not commonly discussed. And there's also an increase in hepatitis C infections. I've personally been inspired through my own story, and I was a long-term resident in my own place of 20 years. And my building was bought immediately after my landlady died, and I found myself in the midst of an aggressive eviction where the plaintiff in my case, who I did not know, assumed my property and within 30 days got me out with very little grounds to do it and did not disclose where my things are. I'm currently on a fixed income. I thought I had protections, but once again, we find that the need to speak out is even greater than ever before, because it was that apathy on the onset of the HIV epidemic that killed many who fought very hard to live. And so there may not be easy solutions, but it is important to learn the lessons from the past. And those lessons are to speak up and speak out without fear of reprisals or retaliation, and that the emphasis on safety for disclosure must be maintained for our posterity, because that silence cost us an entire generation who is not able to speak for themselves, leaving those of us who are still here to speak to the next generations coming behind us. We've laid whatever groundstones we can lay for you. And in the midst of this, we're struggling to even keep what we call our neighborhood. What are we going to do? The answer is an ongoing discussion. And I look forward to being part of one of the contributors, and look forward to generations following us to help find the answers. It's very difficult, but know that you're not alone. Many of us have gone through many of our struggles. Our struggles are no greater than yours. And yet, please remember the lessons of the past so we don't repeat them in the future. I wish you well, I wish you love, and thank you for your time, and thank you for your attention. Peace.